So, my ex-girlfriend went missing almost 10 years ago. The last time she was seen, she was in a red dress, on her way to a party in Cluj-Napoca, driving a red 1999 Fiat Seicento S with the license plate CJ96TAT. On that day, she left for the party but never arrived and was later declared missing. Today, on my way back from work, I stopped to check on my aunt and uncle, who I hadn't seen in a while. Since I was a teenager, I've collected license plates. I didn't steal them off cars on the street, just from scrap cars. My uncle said, "While I was out fishing a few days ago, I found this in the river," and handed me a rusty old license plate. And guess what? The plate text was CJ96TD, the same as my ex-girlfriend's car. What I think happened is that on that day she might have lost control of the car and crashed into the Sums River. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the only theory I have. Update. So, after I reported it, the police started searching the Sums River for any evidence of a red Fiat Seicento. They found the car in the river, all bashed up as if it rolled over before landing in the water, with the driver's door open and no human remains inside the car. Everyone's theory is that she lost control of the car, rolled over and ended up in the river. She managed to escape the car, but while trying to flag down another motorist for help, her purse and phone were still in the car. She got kidnapped. Most likely she was raped and killed. The police are still working on the case, but things are looking grim. Update 2. The case has gone cold again. The police said that she is definitely dead and either drowned in her escape from the car or got kidnapped while trying to flag down another motorist. Either way, they believe she is most likely dead, and there's no way to find her body after 10 years. I was a highway patrolman for 20 years and I've seen it all: high-speed chases, gunfights, near-death encounters. But nothing compares to what happened in the summer of 2018. It was the graveyard shift. The stillness of the night had a way of amplifying every sound, every shadow. Most nights were the usual mix of speeding drivers and DUI stops. That night started no differently. I was stationed at my usual spot near mile marker 62, radar gun in hand, coffee thermos perched on the dash. The radio buzzed with routine chatter. Then, just as I was finishing my second cup of coffee, dispatch came in. "Any available units near Route 18? We have a 10 to 90. I was confused. I'd never heard that code before. "Dispatch, this is Unit 504. "What's a 10 to 90? Silence. "Dispatch." No response. Just static. Seconds later, coordinates popped up on my patrol car's computer. It was an isolated patch off the highway, deep in the woods. Uneasy, I radioed my supervisor. "Hey Sarge, dispatch just paged me about a 10 to 90. What's the protocol?" His response was curt. "Ignore it. It wasn't meant for you." "Seriously?" They gave me coordinates. "Drop it, 504. Get back to work." I hesitated, but orders were orders. The night dragged on with routine stops. Around 3 a.m. exhaustion hit, so I pulled into a donut shop. Yeah, I know the stereotype, but sometimes you just need the sugar rush. The shop was a dive, peeling paint, flickering neon sign, but it was open. Behind the counter stood a man so pale he looked like he'd been carved from marble. His fingers were unnaturally long, and he moved with a stiffness that gave me the creeps. "What'll it be?" His voice was raspy, like dead leaves rustling. "Just coffee. And a couple of glazed." He slid my order across the counter without a word. His gaze lingered on me, unblinking, as if he were memorizing my face. "Long night?" he asked, his lips curling into a faint, unnatural smile. "Yeah. Graveyard shift. Never gets easier." He chuckled, a low guttural sound that made my skin crawl. "Be careful out there. You never know what might be lurking." I left in a hurry, the bell above the door jangling behind me. I was halfway to my car when the radio crackled again. "Help me." The voice was faint, distorted, but unmistakably human. I froze, my heart hammering. "Dispatch, this is Unit 504. Did someone just broadcast a distress call?" No response. I tried my supervisor. Nothing. Curiosity gnawed at me. Against my better judgment, I punched the coordinates into my GPS and set off. The drive took me 45 minutes, deep into the highway forest. The road narrowed until it was barely more than a dirt path. My headlights cut through the thick darkness, revealing gnarled trees that seemed to close in around me. When the GPS announced I'd arrived, I was in the middle of nowhere. I stepped out of the car, gun holstered, flashlight in hand. The silence was unnatural, not a single insect, not even the rustle of leaves. I radioed again. "Dispatch, this is 504. I'm at the coordinates. What's going on?" Static. I took a step forward. The ground was hard beneath my boots, but I couldn't hear my own footsteps. The air felt heavy, oppressive. Then behind me a twig snapped. I spun around, flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. Nothing. "Who's there?" I called, unholstering my gun. The radio crackled to life again. "Help me." The voice was deafening, as if it were screaming directly into my skull. I dropped the radio, clutching my ears. Before I could react, a heavy blow struck the back of my head and everything went black. I woke up tied to a tree. My hands and feet were bound with rough rope, my head throbbing. The air reeked of damp earth and something metallic, blood maybe. 3 hooded figures stood before me, their faces obscured. They whispered among themselves, their voices low and guttural. One stepped forward. "Why did you come here?" I got a call. A distress call," I stammered. "Why are you here?" the figure repeated more forcefully. "I was just doing my job. Look, killing me won't do you any good. My team knows I'm out here. They'll come looking." They whispered among themselves again, then one of them nodded. "Let him go," the leader said. Another figure stepped forward, cutting my bonds. My legs were weak, but I managed to stand. "Take your gun. Do not come back." I didn't need to be told twice. I grabbed my weapon and stumbled back toward my car. My head swam and my limbs felt heavy like I'd been drugged. As I made my way down the path, figures began emerging from the shadows. Dozens of them, their faces pale and featureless. "Don't come back," they chanted in unison. "Don't come back." I reached my car and sped out of there, not daring to look in the rearview mirror. The next morning, I reported everything to my supervisor. He dismissed it as exhaustion-induced hallucinations and put me on paid leave. But I know what I saw. Even now, years later, I can't shake the feeling that they're still watching me. I kept one of my radios as a memento of my time on the force. Sometimes, late at night, it crackles to life. "Help me," the voice whispers. And sometimes, it calls my name. Tonight, I've made up my mind. I'm going back. I don't care what's waiting for me in those woods. I need answers. Wish me luck. When I was in 6th grade, ghosts were a very intriguing topic for me and I loved the paranormal. But I never knew if they were real or not. This proved it. I was in 6th grade when ghosts really piqued my interest. The paranormal was something I was fascinated by, but I never knew if it was real or just a myth. That is, until this happened. I was at my friend Lily's house, having a double sleepover with my friends Lily and Andy. Lily lived in a small old house, and her bedroom was in the basement at the end of a long hallway. The house was run down, not many rooms, and in the basement, Lily always kept the lights off in the hallway, but her room had the lights on. Her door was always wide open to the darkness beyond, as it didn't have a knob, but it never really bothered us. I remember it was a Friday in December, I think, because it was pitch black outside by early evening. Around 9 p.m., we were blasting music on Lily's TV, dancing and singing loudly because her mom didn't care. But there was one thing I always noticed: the basement stairs and the door were incredibly loud. Creaky, prominent, and impossible to ignore. While we were dancing, Andy and I happened to glance at the darkness outside the door. In the blur we saw it, a white silhouette of a person walking by in the doorway. Both of us froze, covering our mouths in shock. We couldn't move. Lily was looking the other way. At first I thought it was Lily's mom's boyfriend trying to scare us, since it was tall like him, but when we told Lily and went to check the hallway, no one was there. That's when I realized the creaky stairs and the basement door didn't make a sound. No one had come in or out. Both Andy and I had seen it and we reacted at the same time. Lily started to get scared, but she thought we were pranking her. We weren't. Once Lily stepped out for a second, I asked Andy to describe what we had seen. She said, "It was tall." I've never doubted the existence of ghosts ever again. I literally just got off my shift delivering for Walmart. To give context for the story, I took a batched order this morning that was not in my usual area. It was in a city probably 25 miles from my usual pickups. Well, I finished my last order in another city, which is 35 to 38 miles from my actual house. I'm driving along, get spooked by cops or whatever. Then I see this car riding my ass with specific headlights and a Toyota logo. Annoyed, I keep driving. I keep checking throughout my drive and they are still behind me. I'm crossing through towns and other cities to get home, looking in my rearview mirror, and they are still trailing right behind me. I'm getting more and more anxious as my GPS tells me I'm 20 minutes from home. I check my mirror and the Toyota RAV is still behind me, closer than before. 15 minutes later they back off just a bit. 10 minutes, coming up on an intersection, and they are still behind me. I need to make a choice, go straight or turn. I turn quickly, no brakes, no turn signal. Traffic thickens. And I'm pushing 50 mph on this road. I see them come up behind me once more. I'm sweating. The GPS tells me I have one more turn to make before I know where I really am. I floor it. I made just enough distance to take this turn without a blinker and without braking. The turn is more of a side road that you can ease onto. I'm pushing 50 miles per hour the whole way. My car is going over bumps and I'm praying this person lost me. I come to the end of the road. I either go left to go home or right to get gas. I was nervous and scared. I turned right, thinking if I go public, my usual gas station guys will help. I pull into the gas station, get $30. Have them pump it while I do deep breathing. Right as the gentleman comes back with my card, the Toyota RAV pulls up next to me, and the man inside is craning his neck to stare directly at me and grin. I never left that gas station so fast. I booked it home. It's 6 minutes from my house, but I got there in 3. Whoever that guy is, stay away from me. I carry knives and mace for a reason. If these stories send a chill down your spine, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more terrifying tales. You never know when the next horror story might be your own.